The following podcast is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed on this episode are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of EMX or EMP, but whether it does or not ain't none of your goddamn business.
I am Magneto. You are nothing.
Welcome, everybody. This is EMX episode 89. How's it going, everybody? Don't forget, you can always support us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/EMPcast for just pennies, just mere trifles. Not only will you be supporting this show and helping us live our best lives, but you will also get 1 month early. You will get the extra special EMBS episodes where we're sitting around just, shooting the shit, talking about all the non-comic book or X-Men or Avengers comic related stuff that we're into. So yeah, do it. Don't be a nerd, or be a nerd that supports Patreons. Either way, just do it.
Help the show out.
Yeah, it's important. Come on. These are unprecedented times. We all need to, give each other a hand.
Indeed. What's up, guys?
Nada. I'm excited to jump into this book and get into some of this wackiness.
I know. We sound like super excited tonight. I feel like we're all three of us are like absolutely just completely drained and about to talk about what is quite possibly the most insane and literally bugfuck nuts X-Men crossover that has ever existed in the face of forever.
Yeah. It is very, very insane. Quick plug before we start. I am doing a charity live stream on Twitch Sunday, December 13th, 2020. And I'm basically going to work on Funko Pops for 12 hours. And
like
also,
you do.
because I'm an idiot. And I will be raising money for feedingamerica.org. So come donate definitely donate, but if not, keep me company and hang out. It's a good time. And 20 bucks earned gets my dog a treat, and he's adorable.
Ooh.
And who doesn't want my dog to have a treat? So Feed America and Luke.
Yeah. Are you guys really out there gonna literally take food out of the mouth of a starving dog? Like, what's the view? God, you monsters. I can't even look at you right now.
Yeah. So it's twitch.tv/comedianviet.
All right.
And you have a Patreon too, right, Thatcher?
I do. So once you've signed up for the EMP cast Patreon, which, I mean, that's a given. You're going to do that. Let's be real about this. You can just, walk your little fingers over to patreon.com/demonweasel, and you can sign up for my Patreon, where you'll get a bi-monthly newsletter. Twice a month. I can never, that's one of my just great intellectual weaknesses, is never knowing the difference between when something's twice a month, if it's bi-weekly or bi-monthly. I'm sure it's completely simple for everyone else, but for me, it's like doing rocket algebra. It's ridiculous. I'm like, no, I can't do it. So newsletter comes out twice a month. Plus you get previews of stuff that I'm working on. and original fiction, which right now is a fantasy D&D inspired script. So check it out. I like to think it's dope. I could be biased. Who knows? Patreon.com/demonweasel.
Very cool. All right. With that being said, let's dive into this Ten of Swords thing, huh?
Yeah, let's take the craziness down like at least like 2 or 3 notches.
Yeah.
So we can
Corin.
Corin, you got to keep
Okay.
it down, man.
Yeah.
You're really
Too much.
you're
Too
you're,
much.
yeah,
excitement.
you're dragging this whole thing down, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Whew.
You got anything?
No,
Corin?
I'm good.
All right. Welcome to EMX. I am Vietwin, and with me, as always, is Corin Crow
Thanks.
and Thatcher E. Cleveland.
Yellow.
This will be 1 hour of uncut, uncensored, and unscripted conversation about the X-Men books from November 2020. Watch for spoilers and hang on to your seats because we are. Do we have a timer going, or are we doing a timer?
I got it.
Okay, we are starting now. So normally we pick and choose which ones we want to talk about, but since we're doing a 22-part,
Just one of your average
crossover.
run-of-the-mill 22-part crossovers. That's
Yep.
all. Nothing.
Yeah, so
nothing big.
we're just gonna go down the line, right? So we have chapter 12 of 22. We have X-Men number 14. Written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Mahmoud Asrar and Lineal Francis Yu, colors by Sunny Go, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. So, what'd you guys think?
Do you guys like backstory? Because this has got some backstory. The amount of depth that Hickman has put into that, like leading up to this crossover, is truly insane.
Yeah.
It's kind of mind blowing. But yeah, this is the hey Apocalypse. Ever since we took off, this is what we've been doing. Episode, and also
Seems
like
a
the
lot happened.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, you left, and we fought off some demons, and I put on a possessed mask, and now that controls me, and so yeah, things are just great here.
I love how it's like literally the same panels and stuff in previous stories that the summoner told, but now we get like the truth behind it. It's almost like the whole issue is almost completely recycled.
See, this is why we keep you around, Corwin, because I absolutely would not have remembered any of that.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, it's just pretty. It's pretty. Artwork's pretty. Hickman's smart. Art look good.
Yeah, this is exactly the same story Summoner told Apocalypse, but now we get more details and the real details of the story of what happened.
Yeah, I guess it's told from his wife. So
yeah, so it's Genesis explaining to Apocalypse what happened way back when and how Araco went to Otherworld and I don't know how she had to face off with Annihilation and how she defeated Annihilation just to become Annihilation when the mask took control of her. So
the White Sword guy has he looks so much like Thanos, like MCU Thanos.
Yeah, if there's any kind of weakness in the absolutely brilliant character designs for all of these, it's that this guy, like, you could have maybe just make him like purple or orange or like it's the blue and the helmet and the armor and the like his cheek flaps, which have lines in it, which remind us of Thanos's chin stripey things unconsciously.
His chin screwed him. You can say
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, I didn't want to make him feel bad. He's been through enough. But I mean, yeah, if there's any sort of like, oh, they could have done, this a little bit differently, it's that. But that's the smallest of nits of which to
Yes.
pick.
Agreed.
I mean, they really actually threw out a whole third race of things out here when you find out how the Ameni demons and stuff was breeding with the mutants that they'd captured. So not only do you have the mutants from Morocco, you have this bred race of demons / mutants, which was this army that they had to face eventually. Yeah, I really enjoyed the twists and turns and the real story of what happened here.
Yeah, this was, it was a good sort of every once in a like it's a hard thing to balance the hey, we're going to give you a whole lot of exposition and not have you sitting there going, all right, yeah, this is the exposition. We get it. Can we get on with the real story? Like it's, so mission accomplished with this because
Yeah. It's kind of needed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you absolutely have to because it's like you've got universes and worlds and all this new stuff that they're throwing in there to be like, all right, here we go. You guys ready?
Yeah, and and to nitpick at Hickman, he can do that sometimes where he's just like, here's this whole world and whole universe, and I'm not going to tell you shit about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I am glad that there's some explanation in showing that it's a big deal for that reason. And like spending just enough time, like just to fill you in on everything, on why this is such a big deal. So kudos to Hickman.
The only thing, just looking back on it all, it's just like, so way back when there was this whole huge race of mutants. They didn't quite explain where humanity was or what was going on with them at the time. So it's like, how much? Well, I guess they're on Morocco, but was Morocco always just in the ocean aside from humanity? I mean, I'm interested in seeing how they build up the history of how this affected everything else in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I mean, that is sort of like the weird the weird underpinnings of the Marvel universe where it's like you've got these apparent super mutants that no one's ever really known about before that just kind of took off, and then you've got the Inhumans, and then you've got the Eternals, and then you've got the Kree and the Skrull mucking about. Like Earth was a busy place, man. We had a lot of visitors. And then nothing for a really long until like the 60s. And then it's like, all right, every alien's coming back now.
Yeah, and all because like a sixth celestial happened to crash land there and like barfed and puked on the earth, and that's how life was created.
That's what, kids, strap yourself in. That's how all life is created. Okay, it's not pretty. It's not glamorous. It's just a thing that happened. A lot of barf and puke and a giant space robot. And then next thing you know, you're trying to figure out how to put a whole race of mutants through college.
Bodily fluids. A lot of bodily fluids.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sticky. It's damn sticky.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Marauders
Yes.
14.
Yeah, Marauders number 14. Written by Jerry Duggan and Percy. Art by Stefano Caselli. Colors by Edgar Delgado. Letters by VC's Corey Petit.
I love how
This is
Go ahead.
This is the calm before the storm issue.
I love how the issue starts with the dinner menu.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just like, oh, like, and then it's kind of going over the stuff from the different lands, and like, I don't remember that shit. So I just kind of glossed over. And how did I not know that Pog, like
Pog, come on,
rhymes?
man.
That
I know
spoken
that was.
rhymes?
Oh my god, yeah. Like that's like if you thought he was cool before, holy shit, he's a rapper too. Get the fuck out of here. Where is this guy's SoundCloud? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah, spitting bars.
Yeah. Hot fire, son.
This is
Hot.
like, oh my god, Pog.
Yeah. All right. This I'm gonna get real with you guys right now. I totally skipped this issue and was wondering why the beginning of Marauders 15 was so weird. I was like, all right, I guess I just forgot a thing. That's cool. I forget things all the time because I'm old and my brain is dying.
This is the first interaction between both teams as they're at dinner, which they start setting things up here, which I really enjoy. Storm and Death have a moment where you realize that, okay, these two are going to definitely be seeing more of each other. And then just how, let me skip my head really quick, make sure I'm not getting myself confused, but I think this is where Magik and Gorgon kind of have a moment to shine as they probe the enemies for weaknesses and stuff. So there's some really interesting interactions in how they do things. Even when they test Iska, the unbeaten, to see how truly unbeaten she is, and they just play all these stupid little games with her that she passes. There's like a ponytail on the donkey. They're stacking like wine glasses. Just all kind of really silliness that they put her through to test her powers.
Yeah. Yeah, because like they're still like they're sizing up the competition. It was like, oh, this person like favors their left hand.
Storm.
And then Death and Storm have a little underwater dance party.
Yeah, Death definitely tries to shoot his shot for sure.
I mean, can you blame him?
Yeah,
It's Storm.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
do it just for the story, at least. It's like, well, this is how she shot me down. She did not fry me with lightning, so fingers crossed on that.
Yes, you're saying this again. By the way, I may or may not try to kill you, but for now, let me holla.
Let me get them digits.
Yeah, let me get some digits, yo.
Which you think it's Death? He would know. He should know where to find anybody.
Yeah.
And then the thing at the end where that now the beginning of the next issue makes sense, where Wolverine just straight up murders Saturnine.
Yeah, and then like when it got to issue 15, I was just like, oh, I was not expecting this.
Well, I mean, there really isn't much to say here because I even set up a little bit ahead with some of the testing that Magik and Gorgon does, but Death does try to poison Wolverine. I mean, War does try to poison Wolverine, but yeah, let's jump to the next issue because we pretty much summed up everything with this one. So yeah, Marauders 15. I don't have the creative team.
It's the same creative team.
All right, so let's run with the beginning of this issue because they really threw everybody for a loop.
Yeah, so everyone's dead.
Yeah, yeah, everyone's dead, including like like the Avengers and everything. Like the Araco forces made it to
Earth,
to the 616, and fucked up everything.
Yeah, they just straight jacked up the whole Earth. And at least Wolverine gets to see it, and they're like, "Yeah, hey, this is this is what you get for trying to cheat."
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, like it's gonna be this kind of story. I got it. I was just like, did not expect that. And then we jump back to the dinner party, and she's like, you see that? You see what you just tried?
Yeah.
And I
M.
was
Night
like,
Shyamalan, you didn't I?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, don't even think about it. And then he's like, what? Is I and then Wolverine kind of stomps out. I wasn't gonna do that.
Yeah, and literally everyone in the room, including the people that just met him, are like, "Yeah, no, he was absolutely going to do that, wasn't he?" Like, yeah, it's a thing that he does.
Like, nah.
This was the great
And then,
Stefano Caselli art too.
Yeah.
yeah, does good work on this one. And then, Scythe gets food poisoning / poisoned.
Yeah, by eating Wolverine's food, which was what kind of
Yeah,
set him up with.
like don't ever eat off of Wolverine's plate. Like the guy's got a healing factor. You don't know what kind of sauces and spices and other things he's putting on there. Do you think Wolverine cares if his meat has been, tested to full FDA guidelines? No. No, he's just going to healing factor out any like tapeworms or bugs or whatever the hell is
He's
going to be
probably
in
more worried
there.
about the seasoning.
Yeah.
He was Yeah, I mean, not to mention the fact that he was, up living in the wilderness of Canada, eating roots and berries, for God knows how long.
He
Come on.
could probably Wolverine could probably survive like gas station sushi.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which is funny. That's kind of what it looks like his appetizer was.
Uh-huh.
Some sort of like, Speedway
Yeah,
nori roll or something like that.
I love the fact that
The convenience stores of nori
I
rolls.
love the fact that there's like literally two panels of all the craziness going on in the background, and Apocalypse and Genesis sitting at the table, and Apocalypse is like, "I see you did well with the children," and she's like, "I did my best." Just matter of
Yeah.
factly. Uh, there's
Yeah.
always great humor injected throughout this series, which I really loved. Even when dinner was served, and then there's this beetle um, that offends death, the sacred beetle that's been on the menu, and he takes off his helmet and literally looks at the dude and kills him, disintegrates him. And then as he comes back to his plate, the beetle's gone, and like Wolverine's munching on it.
He's like, oh, do you mean this? This is sacred? The thing that I'm eating right now?
Oh no, I sure would hate to crap out your sacred beetle tomorrow. That sure would be a shame, wouldn't it?
And I was like, and Saturnine is like, oh, you thought that was offensive? How about some unicorn meat? Bitches.
Uh,
Which is apparently really good.
Yeah,
You know?
according to Wolverine.
Yep. And then and then we get into more of the whole like, what are the things that Iska can do since her power is to basically just to always be unbeaten, like stacking glasses or God, they're playing like 3-card Monty,
I love how like Kate.
and
Oh,
even
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and even guess what number I'm thinking of where they cheat and it's not a number.
I do love young Cable in here too, just kind of showing his inexperience. As he's sitting with Cable and Apocalypse and Genesis, like, oh, this is kind of awkward, huh? Or this is weird for you guys. Um,
I do. I think is it this issue where they mention? I think Magik mentions that like to Iskez, like I need you and Domino to
yes,
interact.
Yeah.
See what happens.
and she's like, your friend would lose.
and then we draw our first matchup, and it's Captain Britain versus Iska.
The unbeaten.
Good times. I'm sure it'll work out well for Captain Britain.
Sure.
Which I will say, like, now granted, I did miss that first issue. I don't know why. Probably because I was like, oh, well, they wouldn't just have two issues of the same comic come out back to back. You know, that would be crazy. And I was just looking for Marauders on my list of stuff that I'd got, and I was like, all right, yeah, there we go, Marauders, cool.
You just completely forgot what year you're in, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm just like, I'm like, what's the next part? Marauders? Okay, cool. There was only one issue of that, right? Sure. It's almost, I feel like with the 3 issues of preamble, it's almost a little too much. Like, all right, let's get to the fight. Kind of like I read these in chunks, so I didn't really get the feeling of, oh man, when are they finally going to get to the fighting? But it's in it, but the upside of the coin is that it's very entertaining. Like, you're not like, all right, I'm bored and everyone here is lame. It's like, no, you've got a giant 4-armed Godzilla SoundCloud rapper who, is spitting fucking fire while he eats unicorn meat. Like, normally you got to pay extra for that shit, and you get it cover price. It's amazing.
Yeah, Pogger Pog. I was just like, oh my god, he speaks in rhyme too. Oh my god.
Yeah. I think I actually, like, when I realized it, I think I audibly out loud in my living room to myself was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Because I'm a giant nerd.
Yeah, like, did you guys look at the odds? The odds of winning? Like the tournament opening line? Like Cypher's like 5,000.
Yeah.
And it looks like, yeah, Red Root, the Forest, like the Araco Cypher, pretty much. I think. Yeah, I think Red Root, I think she was like the Cypher, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because she's got the more of like a plant thing as opposed to a technology thing.
Right. But she's 100-1. And Baby Cable, or Kid Cable, is also 100-1.
Yeah. All right, good stuff.
Definitely interesting.
So Excalibur 14 finally kicks off the battles, and it just begins with a friggin' awesome quote from Apocalypse. It says, find the most fearsome challenger in all of creation and make her your wife. Lie down at night beside your greatest threat. Make love to your fate.
Really
or,
puts a whole...
like, marry someone you love.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's
to each their own, Apocalypse.
It's no happy wife, happy life, or live, laugh, love, but it's catchy. I could see that written in script on a piece of wood hanging up on some white person's house.
Yeah. Keep an eye on your knives.
Yeah.
So we got Teeny Howard writing, Phil Noto on art, VC's Arana Maher on letters. And we are ready to rumble.
Yep. Little psychological gamesmanship as Iska and Captain Britain are chatting about stuff.
We get some Jubilee and Shogo.
Yeah. Yep. He's still a dragon. Still a baby.
And this is like super anticlimactic.
Wait, are you saying that the person whose entire power that they've set up for the past 3 issues, who they can't be beaten, that they win? That's crazy.
Like, I don't know. I would like to see Britain put up a little more of a fight, but she literally is couldn't break the glass ceiling.
Damn.
Wow.
I think that might be the
Wow.
episode
Yeah.
title right there.
Hey, Captain Britain, no reason to go to pieces.
Shattered your dreams of being Captain Britain.
Guess you got your glass
Oh
kicked.
Lord, terrible.
You died.
You died
Wait,
by
that one's
turning
not-
into
that one-
glass and shattering.
Yeah, that one's not as good. They can't all be winners. All right. And then we get a matchup that really sort of sets the tone for the rest of the crossover, in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah.
So then it's Doug
'Cause
versus Bay the Blood Moon, who he can't seem to
Mhm.
understand anything that she's saying. His powers does not work on her. He cannot translate anything she says, and he finds it fascinating.
Yeah.
But Apocalypse can hit her.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it seems like other people can understand her, and the other people that from her side can understand him, but the two of them just can't really understand each other. So, what's the most logical thing to do in the situation?
A knife fight?
Why get these two kids hitched? Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, and then we're like, okay, it's gonna be one
What?
of these kind of competitions. You're just like, your competition is to marry each other. I was like, but who wins? How does that? What?
Yeah, exactly.
And the funniest part is they dropped so many hints of this in the past issues when we covered those issues, and I'm like, oh, if you guys only knew, like when Ileana was teaching Doug how to fight, she's like, if this was a wedding or something, I'd be more worried.
Crafty
Oh yes, there was all
motherfuckers.
kinds of hints. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, Doug getting married, and the whole time we don't even know what she looks like until she pulls her veil back, and then
And he's like, all right, can't be that bad.
he's like, oh, we can do this.
Like, okay.
All right. Yeah, you got some wild eye makeup, girl, but I can work with this. I got a robot arm, so we cool.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what you're saying, but we'll
I'm
figure it out.
I'm wearing my pretty midsummer crown. Hopefully this ends happier than that did, but you never know.
And then we learned that dragon fire is one of the most destructive things in Otherworld.
Yes, it's reality burning. And and especially like Teenie Howard is like probably my criticism with Teenie Howard is that she like her books are always all over the place. like it jumps around so much, because like and then like hopefully like she likes to build up to something in the end, and so we'll see if it pays off.
I think.
Yeah, because
go ahead.
I was gonna say because the whole Shogo as a dragon thing really sort of came out of left field when this series started, but now it's sort of like, once again, planting seeds, man. Planting seeds.
Like you definitely need, like you need to put in work when it comes to Teenie Howard. Her into enjoying her work. Like you have to stay the course and kind of thing. And this is one of the examples of that. Because I'm not gonna lie that probably Excalibur is still like probably my least favorite of these, like that title. But it's still pretty good. But like I said, it's like all over the place and it's kind of hard to grasp.
I think the magic element is one of my least favorites. Yeah. But that's kind of the heart of Excalibur. the original run too.
Yeah. It has a grand tradition of weirdness that is most assuredly not for everyone. And that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
really like Howard the Duck. That's not for everyone, you know? I find a four-armed Godzilla who raps and wears armor. I'm immediately enthralled by him. We've all got our issues, man. We've all got our things that we like or don't like.
Oh yeah, I am a Pogger
Well,
Pog fan. I stand Pogger Pog, as the kids would say.
well, Saturnine finds something she likes as she takes kind of control of Shogo, and it puts her in a good mood. So each team gets a point.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like I said, buckle up, kids, because it's only getting weirder from here. Although I think this one has more of an actual fight in
We
it.
have Wolverine number 7, written by. It's not on the first couple pages, is it? Benjamin Percy and
Ben Percy
Jerry Duggan.
and Jerry
Joshua
Duggan.
Cassara on art, Guru EFX on colors, and here we have the battle beginning. Some real actual fighting. We have Magik versus Pog or
Pog or motherfucking Pog,
What?
y'all.
no swords. No, for this they must arm wrestle.
arm wrestle.
Arm wrestle. Because, you know, we devoted the whole first half of the crossover to them getting these swords. Like, it's in the name of the thing. But you know what? Let's have them arm wrestle. We had a wedding last issue. Let's have them arm wrestle this time. Why not? It's
Contest of
hilarious.
arms, as she puts it. As Saturnite puts it quite literally.
Yeah, and it's a little unfair because he has like 6 of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, 5 times her size.
Like
Yeah.
he could have at least used his little baby arms. You know,
No.
like to make
There's
it
no,
making it like somewhat competitive.
yeah. But as a great man once said, Pog or Pog will tear baby arm from its socket and then keep it in his pocket. Straight fire, son.
This is
I hear
the
it.
sound
We
of
hear
a snap.
it. I'm laughing.
That's deep, man. That's deep.
Then we have Wolverine versus Summoner in the Blightspoke, which is the area of Otherworld where universes go to die. So everything is completely corrupt. There's no laws of physics. Everything is just crazy. And the art style gets really crazy too until eventually Wolverine does kill the Summoner.
I've got to say, I've not come across anything else that I remember that Cassara has worked on. And holy crap, like this issue looks great. And degree of difficulty on like this Blightspoke, it's all just wordless. It's got crazy, like there's a Tron in there, there's chess sets, there's
Minecraft.
flesh melting, there's an actual Wolverine. Did you say there was a Minecraft? Is there a Minecraft
From
in
the
two?
far left of that one, of the Wolverine and Snake.
Yeah.
It's like blocks of them, block figures of them fighting each other. But right above the Tron.
Yeah. And like cave paintings, and it's wild. It's I mean, so hats off to this dude.
Agreed.
But Wolverine
And
loses.
then the biggest, the big twist is that it's the fight to the death, as in first person who dies wins.
And at this point, I mean, I got to be honest with you. If and Wolverine has the exact same reaction that I was like, if you're not going to take this seriously, I'm just going to leave. Okay. Because we've been told from the get-go, this is going to be a very serious, straightforward 10 people fighting with 10 swords, fighting 10 other people with 10 other swords. And then you're pulling shit like this. It's wild.
Yeah. It's just like, who made these games? Arcade?
Yeah. But we're not even done. Like, that's not even the issue.
Storm and Wolverine then must have a drinking contest, which doesn't really help anything because whoever wins, Krakoa gets the point. But then we do see that this was kind of set up by Death as he bribes Mad Jim Jaspers with some kind of beetle, sacred green beetle.
This guy and his bull.
And then things. Oh,
I was going to say, I'm really bummed that that Wolverine and Storm got cut off just before the drunken makeout.
Yes.
Because I got to say, like, I know this is kind of old news, but I love Wolverine and Storm as a couple.
Agreed.
Like, like just the very casual, professional, friends with benefits, but with a lot of respect. They're just sort of like, this is just our thing. Sometimes we bang it out. You give me a mohawk, I give you a little something,
I mean, they were a straight up couple before he died, so.
Yeah.
And we have Solemn, who is facing off versus War. So once again, two same sides, but he decides he's going to call in his marker and in pops Wolverine.
Maybe another reason why, why War wanted to sabotage Wolverine, because he knew Wolverine had that Storm though.
I don't know, but then since Wolverine has to fight in Solemn's place, Saturnine makes it the first to sever an appendage wins. So even though Wolverine is quite inebriated, he actually ends up cutting off War's hand because she can't get her sword through his neck. And he wins the fight. Unfortunately, he wins the point for Solemn, so Araco gets the point.
Yeah, again, it's like, it's like this went from like grim and gritty Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur, like Fight of the Universe things to fucking Calvin Ball all of a sudden. It's like, whoopsies.
Yeah, just
it's
make up the rules
day.
as we go.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's still insanely entertaining. It's just so beyond, like, I think, Corwin, you'll have to, like, at one point while you were reading this month's books, you messaged us and you were like, because you had read farther ahead than we had at that point, and you're like, when are they going to start taking this seriously? And I'm just like, how is this not serious? Like, are we reading the same comics? And then as I'm reading these, I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, because the opposite day and the wedding and the arm wrestling. Yeah, no, yeah, I get it. I see where it's coming from.
And then not even like 50 minutes later, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. Which, do we have anything else to say about this one, or do we want to roll into X-Force?
Let's roll into X-Force.
All righty, X-Force number 14. Let me get to my credits page.
Benjamin Percy. Looks like Joshua Cassara again. Guru EFX on the colors. And VC's Joe Caramagna on the letters. And this is sort of like a montage of like of the different crazy competitions.
All right, but you're burying the lead.
I knew you wanted to get this one, Thatcher. Go for it.
Yeah. So we're getting a rematch of Pog and Magik. And again,
yeah, if you
forget about these swords
enough.
They're not having a sword fight. They're like, Saturnine's like, I don't know, just like fight each other with fists and stuff. Do it. And he just scoops her up and eats her, like swallows her whole. And then she just bursts right out of his mouth as he's literally spitting fire. And apparently Pog is some sort of like weird snake troll guy.
Yeah, he's like this imp
driving,
troll, goblin looking dude.
Yeah. Driving a Pog suit. He doesn't even look like a crocodile. I cannot tell you how betrayed I felt by this.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? This is your number one new hit star of the year. Just right before we've had a terrible year. This year's been garbage, man. I had one good thing going for us. And then Pog showed up and I was like, fuck yeah, man. That's a hero for the people. That's what we can do.
Like, I feel like Milli Vanilli.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing I think that we should remember, and I know that I'm taking up a lot of time with this, but I'll try to be quick. Is that if this weird little like green imp weasel guy can get in a super awesome like four-armed Godzilla, like rapping Godzilla, then any one of us can get in that four-armed rapping Godzilla suit. And that's what's important. That's the lesson. Cue the rainbow, the more you know.
Yeah, I mean it's still the fact that it's out there, it's canon that you can get in a giant Godzilla's suit.
Anyone.
Anyone. In Araki, Pog means sword, so his whole alligator pajama suit, as Magik puts it, is one big sword. And if he was inside of it like that, why the hell would he even try to swallow her then? That's where it kind of just lost me. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, because she's kind of like, because she's kind of a badass. It's like it's like in Pacific Rim, if they were like, hey, let's let the kaiju get inside the suit and really kick our ass in here while we're playing Dance Dance Revolution with these robots.
Agreed, but the craziness that this series is. So what else do we have? Well, they do some real quick, what do they call it? When it
looks like a torture competition.
When they do the real quick cutscenes, the what's the word for it? Montage. There we go. Yeah.
It's a sword fighting montage, but with no swords.
So who can?
Because then it's like, hey,
who can withstand torture? It looks like. Then they're rolling big ass boulders uphill. Then they're swimming through some treacherous waters. Then there's an eating contest who can eat the most disgusting things. I think.
And at that point, it's and then a motherfucking dance contest.
Yep. And Wolverine is not having it.
No, Wolverine's not having it when they have to do the modeling, when they have to do the runway.
Oh yeah. And then they Project Runway it. They MC Escher it. They got to build a puzzle. They're trying to find directions. They're using a map that folds like they're cave people. Are you kidding me?
It's the Blightspoke. It's where dead universes go to die, or they bury dead universes.
Yeah. And at that point, when you get to the end of all of those things, the score is Araco 12, Krakoa 5.
Then there's a
they're walking away with this.
Then there's a foot race where Brian must race Redroot, who's literally a walking tree.
And then just because the series isn't weird enough, let's just add the Fury.
Oh, there's a whole province or a whole section of Otherworld that is their territory, and one of these things killed Brian way back when, so now he has to fight a bunch of them.
Exactly.
The best line, though, possibly of the entire series, is as Redroot is power walking away from Captain Britain fighting these things. She says, "Know that I'm rooting for you, Captain Avalon. Rooting for you."
Yeah. Get it?
Because I'm made of plants. She's like, I don't know why you guys aren't laughing. This kills at Araco. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this kills at the Araco Comedy Club.
But then, because she knocked over some kind of crystal, she owes Jim Jaspers. So he seems to have taken her away. He bottles her literally.
So not not just in our world, but in Morocco, rich people have all the evil power.
That would be
they
that
they run
classic
shit.
Captain Britain story with him and Jim Jaspers and Fury. That's some really great not Grant Morrison, good lord. Um, what's his name? Alan Moore stuff. So with all this stuff going on, we finally get a text page, and who has been paying attention to what's going on here and writing down his own Cliff Notes versions of things for TV? Mojo.
Mojo.
Yeah, he's got producer notes. And then like when I saw that, I'm like, oh no, is this all a TV show? No, don't tell me. This is all a TV show. Don't do this to me.
Yeah, like the only thing that would make the Pog betrayal even worse is if it was Mojo coming out of that suit.
Oh
If you're
no,
like, nope,
no,
I'm
no.
done. I'm
That's
done
blasphemy.
forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an instant table flip. That's it. We're ending the podcast. We're done.
Yeah.
So then we have another contest where Magik has to spell magic, and of course she gets it wrong.
Spells it with a K. And then there's some sort of like afterworld staring contest with Wolverine and one dude, the
They
healer.
have to face all the people that they've killed. So
Yeah.
Wolverine ends up crying. I mean, you consider he killed a bunch of his kids as well. That probably, that hurt.
I think Gordon's gonna beat that.
Yeah. And then they're like, I don't know, let's do a couple panels where Gorgon fucks a boulder. What else? Anybody else got anything for this issue? I mean, come on, we're just shotgunning ideas out here. Let's.
Yeah, like Joshua Cassara is probably looking at him like, he wants me to what?
What?
The rock sirens of Clevermore. Few can resist their call. And then there's another.
It's like, who are they even competing against? It's just 3 X-Men standing on a fjord. Like, and then it's like, all right, I'm gonna go fuck a boulder, I guess.
Yeah, like how do they lose?
What is happening here?
Because you fucked the boulder?
Like your whole team has to remain boulder celibate this entire time, which under normal circumstances really easy to do.
Unless you're
Then we
Gordon.
have Captain Ampelon and War have to kill a kitten, and of course Brian ain't with it.
Yeah, like I think it's funny though because Gorgon, he's named after something that turns things to stone, and he's gonna go fuck a boulder. That's clever. It's a deep cut.
Yeah. So
This reminds me of the like there's sort of like there was like a comic strip of like like people that commission artists to do like really weird and creepy stuff. They're just like, hey, I want you to draw me a dragon like fucking a mountain. And then like it's like, no, oh my god, no. He's like, here's $600. So how big? And then, then the next panel is like the artist saying like, so how big do you want the mountain's butthole to be? But yeah. Gorgon's fucking a boulder.
So the issue ends with the final battle of Storm versus Death in the Blightswill territory, which is the vampire territory. And they actually have a real good throwdown fight to where Death gets frustrated with dealing with Storm and takes off his helmet to use his death stare at her. But she's able to reflect it back in his sword, which affects him, and she cuts him down. And of course, the vampires swarm him.
Yeah.
So we end the issue with Araco 17, Krakoa 6.
Again, they are walking away. And it's funny because when you first look at it, you figure, I don't know if you guys thought, but it would be just a straight up and down, like, all right, Wolverine's going to fight Solemn. And whoever wins that gets the point. And then Cyber's going to fight this person. And whoever wins, like, this is like a decathlon of like wacky races. I mean, at
Yeah,
least
it's like
they use swords this time around.
yeah, it's like X meets what is it, the Hanna-Barbera like Olympics?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But because of the drinking that Storm and Wolverine did before, whatever they drank, she doesn't have her powers and she's extremely weakened. So this battle definitely wasn't in her favor, but since when does Storm ever give up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's fucked some people up non-powered before. Like, this is not.
Yeah,
her
this
first.
is not her first depowered rodeo.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like that issue is packed. Like I feel like we spent more time talking about that issue than the first 3 issues of this together. Like so like that's just like an odd kind of storytelling convention, but again, it's really entertaining.
Agreed.
Like as weird as it is that it's like, okay, we're not just getting a whole like issue after issue of straight up and down sword fights, because let's face it, eventually that would be boring. Like if we were just doing like straight old like, oh, this whole issue is just Storm fighting death with swords and no powers, and let's see how long we can drag it out for. It's a better, it is a completely unexpected way to go, but it's definitely, in my opinion, kind of a better way to go.
Agreed.
Yeah, and like I could see like if you're not in that kind of mood to read this kind of book, I could see how this could be possibly frustrating. But I was in the okay mood to read this. Like I was like, yeah, I'm for this. This is
If you know what, if you're not in the mood, get in the mood.
Yeah.
Because Wolverine's gonna do a little turn on the catwalk, okay, and that shit doesn't happen every day.
Yeah. And Storm is fierce. So fierce.
Yeah.
And then right after we have this actual real sword battle, we have Hellions 18, where story takes a turn away from the fighting. Zeb Wells writing, Carmen Carnero on art, David Curiel on colors, and VC's Ariana Meyer on letters. So
it might as like they might as well have just said at the beginning of this issue, meanwhile, here's what these assholes were up to.
Yeah. Not a damn thing.
Yes, so we meet the Araco, I guess, version of Sinister. What is his name again?
This guy looks like the
He
God
does.
Butcher.
He does. What is his name again? They say it in here somewhere.
Tarn the
Yes.
Uncaring.
So his power, I guess, is to genetically tamper with other people. And he has his crew, the Locust File, which as the issue went on, I kept going back and forth because, of course, you get your data page with text and everything about all these characters, and as they're fighting them, I'm going back and forth like, okay, what does this person do again? And just trying to learn about them as it all goes. But all in all, this issue is just about how the Hellions get cut down. Sinister gets blood samples from everybody across Araco with his little mosquito nanobots. And who dies in Otherworld? Nanny and Wild Child actually end up dying. Where's Orphan Maker? Doesn't he get it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Orphan Maker dies too.
Yeah.
He gets ripped apart by the big dude.
Yeah, so 3 people actually.
Amino fetus, who, let's face it, is no Pog
No.
or Pog.
No.
Okay.
No.
None of these guys are. But 3 of them die, and the rest of them have to flee back through the gates Sinister is captured though, which I think is going to be leading to some big problems since Tarn now has him. But everybody make it back to Krakoa through the gates, and suddenly they're ambushed and killed by the other Sinister, who blames it on, the villains in Araco. So, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, like this issue. Yeah, this issue is basically like it's a little aside, it's a little interlude, like we're skipping over things like how Havoc apparently lost an eye. Like these guys have like a lot of weird shit has happened to them, but ultimately the main thrust of this, and as should be for the whole Hellions book, is that Mr. Sinister's an asshole.
Yep.
Like he's just the fucking worst. The absolute worst.
But now he has DNA samples from mutants or whatever beings all across Araco. So what is he going to do with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very interested to see where, like, almost more so than any of the other titles, I'm very interested to see where they end up going with this when, we return to normal business.
Agreed.
And the art, once again, this book is solid. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like how like they said, "Oh, you mean the tournament? Yeah, that's going on right now." What?
Yeah, and it's just like
And
we were
Havoc
supposed
is
there
like, "Are
before
you-"
everyone, and
Yeah,
it's like
I lost an eye for this.
Yeah, like everything about this is terrible. But that leads us to Cable number 6, written by Jerry Duggan with art by Phil Noto and letters by VC's and Joe Sabino. And we get a little bit more Sinister as they come back, and they're talking about, okay, maybe we should try to intervene since we don't really know what's going on, back on Krakoa with Kitty and all those folks. And, but we actually, once again, don't be alarmed. There's an actual sword fight in this issue.
What?
I know, right? And it's basically just young Cable getting his ass handed to him by Doug Ramsey's wife.
Well,
Yeah.
he hesitates. That's the first thing, too, because he has the upper hand. He surprises her with the electric attack, whatever, from the sword. And before he strikes her down, he takes half a second to hesitate, looking at Doug, and, of course, she gets the upper hand on him.
Yeah. But, what does he do? He goes off and calls mom and dad. He's like, "Oh, can you pick me up from my tournament? I think we lost. We're not going to get a trophy."
Which worries Cyclops, of course, because then the communication gets cut off. Go ahead, Viet.
Yeah, and it's like, and then we get another sword fight, 2 sword fights in one.
2
book.
sword fights in one issue.
Yeah, Gorgon versus the army.
Yeah.
The White Sword Army.
We've had a lot of fun at Gorgon's expense over the years, but in this issue, he puts in the work.
He does.
Yeah, it's nice to actually see him being a badass versus like him just kind of standing there in Avengers titles, just having the aura of being a badass, but he just never does anything.
Yeah, the guy, I mean, this is the guy who legitimately, first meeting, killed Wolverine. And granted, we kind of glossed over that a little bit, and Mark Miller definitely has a little bit of a penchant for, overhyping his own creations and whatnot. But, yeah, man, the dude puts in the work with his eyes forcefully like thumbed out of his head too.
Yeah.
so he can't use his like weird Gorgon powers. And Krakoa ends up, because all those dudes that he's fighting count as victories, Krakoa takes the lead 19-18.
Once,
What a
exactly.
twist.
Once again, just some
Yeah.
craziness out of nowhere.
Yeah, where it's like, all right, if you can kill, you get as many points as these guys as you kill, because it's Tuesday. I don't know, whatever, do it.
Yeah, and White Sword just goes up and she's like, oh yeah? Stab.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, and then the real thing too of everyone that the White Sword kills comes back as one of his soldiers. So even though Gorgon's like, nah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to do it. It's like, yeah, it's going to happen, my friend.
well, then he concedes. He's like, yeah, you know what? You can tell that he respects Gorgon. Like, he's like, ha, so be it, and then just kills him and walks away.
Yeah.
So that's what 3 people that have died in Otherworld that now we're gonna have to see when they're resurrected how changed they become. You've got Orphan Maker, Nanny, Wild Child, and now Gorgon.
That's
4,
4.
sorry.
You said 3, but
Yeah,
it's
I keep
4.
forgetting Orphan Maker for some reason.
And that because he's a weirdo. Because him and Nanny they're fucking weirdos, man. It's egg and great value Iron Man armor, like, and yet they keep showing up. I mean, God bless them. They're trying. They're really gonna make fetch happen.
Yeah,
But
I feel like they're the Jar Jar Binks of X-Men.
kind of a little bit. But of course, this sets the stage
The tiebreaker.
for. Going all Jerry Springer style with the X's fighting with swords. Which, if he ever comes back and does the show again, I don't know. Is that show still on the air? It can't possibly still be
I
on the air,
wouldn't be
can it?
surprised. It's 2020. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Who gets to do the final thought?
Saturday Nine's like, final thought, kids.
I think
We've had a lot of fun here today.
Noto got a little skimpy on the details with his art near the end here, especially. I don't know if he was just rushed, but I feel like the art could have been a step up.
I'm legitimately surprised because between him and Kasara on Wolverine and X-Force, and then on both of those issues of Marauders, you've got a lot of artists that put out two books this month. So that's a pretty impressive feat of production.
Let's not forget they had 3 months off due to COVID, so.
Yeah, true, but I mean,
yeah, it's still quite a feat. Like it does seem like his line weights are on some pages are a little heavier than others. Like especially with like White Sword. Like they're like way like the lines are like way heavier and like more simplified versus the like if you look at Gorgon and stuff like that. Like it's interesting.
Yeah. All right, we hit an hour, but we're right near the end, so I'm not even going to worry about the timer anymore. At the end, we do also get a scorecard of all the contests and who won. I don't think there's anything too crazy to point out. Torture Endurance was the other one, where War had to go against Cable, Captain, Avalon, and Gorgon, and she still won. Contest of Letters.
Oh, that was
I think
the
that's
spelling
the
bee.
spelling bee.
Yeah.
Foot Race. Contest of Couture. Yeah. All right, so we all draw down to the. Well, I can't call it the penultimate issue. So we got 3 issues left. So we've got what is this? X-Men number 15, written by Hickman with art. No, right page with art by Mahmoud Asrar and
Asrar.
Sunny Go on colors. And we pick back up with Krakoa, where Cyclops and Jean Grey are considering their options since they've lost contact with Cable. They're kind of worried about what's going on, but they decide that they're going to get our boy. So they go meet with the Quiet Council, who are not quite happy with things. They want to, they don't want to go off half-cocked because they're, what happens if Cyclops fails? They all kind of vote against it, and Jean is like, you know what, this is going to be happening. So the council's like, okay, well, this is going to happen, and you can no longer be on the council. So she decides that she's going. And they kind of vote her out, and at the same time, as much as Xavier and Magneto tell them that they can't go, by the time Jean and Scott leaves, you can tell that they're smiling and they're quite proud of them.
Yeah. Jean left X-Force, she left the council. She's just leaving everything. Like, screw you guys.
I think it's interesting too, because now when you look up the makeup of the Quiet Council, it's now, especially like the people that were voting on this, it was mostly like the traditional bad guys.
Yeah.
And so it definitely seems like now we're missing a few seats because some of those folks are, over in the tournament, but it definitely, I feel like it's going to be an interesting change to see what happens with the Quiet Council from here on out.
Yeah, it's like Kitty and Nightcrawler.
And let me see. So, in the backdrop of what I was just speaking about, we do have Apocalypse and Annihilation literally fighting it out. Here it is. Well, we learn about the Krakoan government. So, with the founding of Krakoa, it seemed like the X-Men were to be no more in function as of a team or anything else like that. So basically, the X-Men were supposedly disbanded, and they weren't supposed to be using the name X-Men since it became synonymous with mutants. And for them to make this government work, they had to kind of separate it, which makes what Cyclops and Jean does here more profound because, Cyclops straight up says it. The X-Men are Krakoa's heroes, and they're going to save lives no matter what the cost. So here we kind of get the reemergence of the X-Men title and team, a bit separate from Krakoa, and we're going to see how this affects the balance that they have here now.
Yeah, a lot of layers, a lot of stuff going on. We've had a lot of fun here today with like spelling bees and fashion shows, but it is cool that like they can kind of turn on a dime and be like, all right, by the way, there is some like real important shit going on.
Yeah. I don't know, like as someone that has Marauders as my favorite book, since the start of these series, like I know there's something way more important, like a interdimensional island wanting to invade and wanting to kill everybody. But as soon as I saw Sebastian Shaw, I'm just like, why aren't you dead yet? Like where is this good revenge kill?
Why isn't Kitty just walking up to him and just like execution style putting a bullet right? Like she's pretty much sitting at the same table with him, for God's sake.
Yeah, and she has tattoos that says "Kill Shaw" on her knuckles.
Is she wearing gloves?
She's like, oh no, I mean George Bernard Shaw, the playwright.
She's wearing gloves.
I just don't.
She's wearing gloves.
Okay, well, good, because otherwise, I'll be honest with you, I don't think George Bernard Shaw. I don't think that story is going to carry water. I'm just going to put that out there. He's probably going to see right through that.
There's some panels where she isn't, so they kind of screwed that up.
But yeah, I'm just like, why are you still alive? And why haven't I seen like a very satisfying revenge plot against you yet?
So one thing to note too, the battle between Annihilation and Apocalypse, she actually takes off the mask, and at the end of the issue, Apocalypse is able to get the better of her, and since she's going to lose, she ends up putting on the mask, and of course, that's when the tide turns once again.
The mask is
Yes,
Annihilation, right? And she's
right,
Genesis. Okay.
right. So he fights Genesis, and then actually, as he gets the upper hand and refuses to finish her off, she puts back on the mask, and then of course, trouble. Which
Yeah, you haven't seen me in my final
which
form.
now brings us to the penultimate issue, Excalibur 15, written by Teeny Howard, art by Mahmoud Asraj, Stefano Caselli, colors by Sonny Go, Rachel Rosenberg, and Clayton Cowles on the letters. And I need some water, so somebody take this.
So yeah, this is when it all starts going crazy because it immediately just sort of becomes all right. Well, if she's gonna, she puts on the annihilation mask, and then all of the crazy annihilation mutant demon people just flood in, and this goes from sword fight to just a massive land battle in like 0.3 seconds.
Yeah, that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
We what was it? We get the um. Oh yeah, well, I like how White Sword is like, I'm out, folks.
This isn't the fight I swore my men
Yeah.
to.
He just, yeah.
He's
He's
like,
like,
I
I'm
I
literally
came
taking my
here.
toys and going home.
Yeah, like I came here for spelling bees and arm wrestling. I'm not
Yeah.
about this war life.
Yeah, you didn't say anything about people getting hurt. Okay, I am out. This is ridiculous. I am writing my congressman. This should not be legal. And but Sweetly Bay the Blood Moon and uh, Doug, they kind of have a romantic like running to find each other moment in the midst of all the fracas.
Except Bay doesn't stop running once she finds him. She grabs him and she takes off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She grabs her little fella and just keeps going.
Yeah, and while all that's going on, Saturday is like, you know what? Let's let's build a puzzle.
Yeah, let's do it. You know what? You know what calms me down when things are going crazy and there's dragons breaking through my roof and all this other stuff. It's puzzler time. And the apparently rebirth of the Captain Britain Corps.
Well, this is kind of cool because so the sword bearers of Krakoa are vastly outnumbered. They're back to back. The horde is closing in on them, and in comes Jubilee with the priestesses of the green. So the whole other I don't even want to call them race, but the other faction that protects the Starlight Citadel show up with Jubilee. So they kind of help to turn the tide. Then all of a sudden, it gets worse. They're still cornered. The horsemen are closing in, and yes, the Captain Britain Corps is resurrected. Except this time, they're all kind of based off of Betsy. Even the male characters have purple beards and stuff like that. And we learn about this love spell at the end, where I guess Saturnine's spell is to uh, grant her greatest desire. And for some reason, it ends up being Betsy, and I guess she was expecting it to be Brian. So that's just kind of another weird thing that they just kind of throw you off kilter with. But we do see Betsy is alive somewhere because she's forging something. And then as
There's a Captain Britain's swan, you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Goose.
and a purple monkey, a purple
Mhm.
Captain Britain monkey.
There could be a Captain Britain Poggerpock.
Yeah. Don't get my hopes up, all right? I've been hurt too much on this episode already. It's been a fucking roller coaster for me. I'm barely keeping it. I'm like white knuckling it through this last issue, guys.
Yes, Betsy is out there somewhere. And that's kind of how the issue ends. The core is resurrected.
Which leads us to the final chapter, Ten of Swords Destruction, written by Jonathan Hickman and Teenie Howard, art by Pepe Larraz, colors by Marta Garcia, and letters by Clayton Cowles. And yeah, it's go time. Just Captain Britons on Captain Britons on Captain Britons. And then Cthulhu's show up.
And then, yes, the summoners of, what is it, Amenth show up, and yeah, it gets worse for our heroes. But who comes a calling? Magik and Cyclops' plan, or I don't even know, their countermeasures that they had into effect. Magik opens a huge ass portal, and what comes flying in right above the Starlight Citadel?
The actual giant sword, because it's called Sword, and the crossover is called Ten of Swords, and it's the 10th sword. It's a space station, but it's also a sword. Fucking, there's levels to this shit, man. You got to open your mind, see what they're doing.
In comes absolutely everybody from Krakoa. You've got from Gwenpool to Dupe. Everybody, exactly.
Everybody in a rucka getting muted.
Swordception, if you will. It's a sword inside a sword. But yeah, in comes the plague race or something like that.
Yeah, like all of the demons of Amenth, which again, it's Cthulhu's and Doomworms and just everything that's terrible.
Oh, Viet was talking about that plague race from the cable issue on the space station.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
yeah, they used the Light of Galador to open that up.
Yeah, and the part of me is like you really want to release that out into the world, Cyclops? This is a good idea.
They're like, this isn't even our dimension, man. Like those, once we leave here, that's their problem. That's their dimension.
You're not
problem.
lying.
Yeah. Like they just like literally just like put some Roundup, like spread some Roundup on a Rocco,
and that
like just kill
everything. And
everything.
the moment we can say we saw coming, Apocalypse gets to drop on Annihilation, rips off her mask, and eventually has to don it himself.
Apocalypse.
Yep.
Apoculation.
Yeah, apoculation.
Hateration, holleration, apoculation.
In this dancery.
Oh, it's a long episode, guys. It's a long episode. We're almost there. But we're gonna land this baby real soon.
And then we see Iska the Unbeaten has turned. Now, I don't know if the color swap had something to do with it, because suddenly now she's mostly yellow. I don't know if that was what that was supposed to, or is it just because of the the lighting there? But suddenly they realize that the tides have changed, and Apocalypse or Annihilipse decides that he's not trying to fight this anymore. Instead, he surrenders, which the mask clearly isn't happy with. But you know what? Saturnine says, "Yep, I can take that." And with that, she's able to use the dragon and banish those, whatever those insect beings are. And she takes the mask from Apocalypse and forms it into a staff, which does weaken its corruption. And since to make peace between the two nations, she basically does a swap where somebody from each side has to swap. Genesis, of course, picks Apocalypse if she's allowed to, and of course he's willing to go. And then as Saturnine asks who speaks for Krakoa, Cyclops tries to step up, but Apocalypse cuts him off, and he chooses to send the mutant island of Rocco back to Earth.
And its prisoners.
Yes. So we have how many millions of mutant prisoners are heading back to Earth. So Krakoa will be won again. So with her magic, she does this. Apocalypse basically walks off with his wife and children, saying that, tell Magneto and the Professor that I will return again someday. Then we kind of get a update of everything that's going on. So in Vermilion, War is still pissed off. She's so angry that the blade enough to light the entirety of the Great Hall of Amenth. The White Sword, of course, is still back to doing what he does. Colony claimed by the Void, unformed, unsummoned. So the colony was a summoner sword, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, so unclaimed. It's claimed by the Void. I don't know what that means exactly, but I guess we'll be seeing it coming back. Alluvium captured along with its wielder in the Crooked Market, so that has to be the Red Root. So if Arako's going back to Earth, I get the feeling we're gonna have to do a rescue mission maybe for Red Root, since she's the main one that can speak with Arako. What do you guys think about that one?
I feel like that could go either way. You can either, have something telling that story, or just kind of back burner her for a little while and make it Doug's thing where he's like, all right, I'm going to figure this out, and we're going to, remerge these islands, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And then who knows? I mean, he's bringing home a wife. He's got a whole new thing going on for him now. So I think lots of interesting possibilities for him storytelling wise there.
That we can start our spin-off series of a Krakoan sitcom.
Yeah.
He's from Krakoa, she's from Iraq. How are they gonna get along?
Krakoa and Araco. That's like with the Married with Children. It's been a long show already. I can't do any more other lyrics. But just you think of your own funny lyrics to go with the Married with Children theme, but with Krakoa and Araco.
All right.
Email them in, and we'll listen to them and not tell you about it.
Muramasa is still in the possession of Solemn, but it is now on Earth, location unknown. Thirsty Blade that will not long be apart from its twin, so could probably expect him to show up in Wolverine. Blackbone of Amodat captured along with its wielder. It's on Sevalith, so that has to be Death. So it seems like Death is okay. Seducer, which is Bay, which is Doug's wife. Everything is fine. Nothing's going to change. Mutants get married all the time. Kiss the blade, Doug. Learn to love it. Mm-hmm. So Bay is on Krakoa. Mercy, the blade of the Omega Mutant. Mercy sits in judgment at the head of the Great Ring. That is, what's her name? Iska's sword, I believe. So she's on Araco now. Pog, sword of hire. Don't screw around. Adventures are imminent, and these deals won't last long. He's back on Amenth.
Yeah, spitting the bars in his dinosaur suit.
I cannot wait for the MTV Cribs episode of Pog or Pog.
Yeah,
And
this is my Godzilla mech, and
The Twilight Blade, abandoned on the battlefield, stolen in the chaos of war. Who claimed the Twilight Blade, and what darkness grows in their hearts? It's somewhere in other worlds. And then, of course, all the other swords, the Earthbound ones, are pretty much brought back. Storm does return Skybreaker to Wakanda. Uh, the Light of Galador is powering the sword station. Starlight Sword is where is it? It remains shattered. Scarab Blade, which was Apocalypse One, the pieces are buried on the scarred battlefield beneath the home of Saturnine. And the Grass Cutter and God Killer were carried home to Krakoa, where they wait for their master to claim them. After a corrupted resurrection, will he reclaim them or reject them?
there was an issue. I don't know if it was this issue or the one before, where Apocalypse's sword wasn't shattered anymore, and that was probably just an editor mistake.
Oh, it's shattered. I know it's shattered when he was fighting Genesis.
Yeah, I know. Like it did do that, but like it was either this issue or the issue before, like where you see it and it looks
In
like
one
it's
piece.
still like whole. Yeah.
So we have a little bit of a epilogue where we see Saturnine is kind of happy with the way things are going, because of course the Britain Corps is back. Um,
And she rules over them, right? Like she's the leader.
yes, they're her army.
yeah, she's got all her stuff back, except for the thing that she really wants, which is that sweet, sweet Brian Braddock loving. Which I don't know about you guys, but isn't Brian Braddock just like hands down one of the most boring characters ever created? And like the fact that she like is just totally obsessed with this dude, just
See,
it seems a
you
little weird,
think? Have
you
you read the
know?
Alan Moore stuff, the early Captain Britain stuff?
I haven't, so I mean, yeah, that's a blind spot. There's a lot of backstory that I'm
Yeah.
not getting, but I mean, it's cool. It's definitely, I mean, obviously, like it's a big homage to that, which is great. I just think it's fun. I'm like, you know what, girl, you can do so much better. You run an interdimensional, like Otherworld and Captain Britain army. You got Britons all across the multiverse that you can pick from. You don't just need this beefy white dude. What about that purple haired ape? It looked cool. It looked ready to party. Come
Yeah.
on.
What about the swan?
Yeah, the swan. Like you're kind of like a swan. You've done swan shit in the past. I know. I think Chris Claremont had you turn into a swan or something. He makes people turn into swans sometime. I don't know, but
All
girl,
right,
come on, you
let's
got
wrap this
this.
up. So, Jubilee is reunited with her child. The Sword Station is put back into orbit above Earth. And I think one of the bigger things that come out of this is that the mutant um, Saturnine says she saw that the mutant council could break the first two cracks in that firmament. So now there are two empty seats on the Quiet Council, Apocalypse's and Jean. So it's going to be interested to see who they will get to fill those two seats and how that may change the power balance of Krakoa.
And someone go Shaw already.
Make it three
Yeah,
seats. The remaining summoners have been assigned to Blightspoke, where they keep watch over the Vascora, who mine hidden riches hidden in the strata of dead universes. We do see Death is here. I'm wondering. Well, actually, it says, and the relentless appetite for the undying lands of Sevalith will be sated by Death himself. So it looks like they're feeding on Death now. My question is Death to become a vampire, or is he trapped there? Is he a prisoner? Is he going to be looking for Storm? There's some interesting things that can happen there as well. And like Thatch was saying, the issue kind of ends with Saturnine having pretty much everything that she always wanted, but not what she truly wanted. So she does have a bit of a bittersweet ending.
Hashtag girl boss.
Yep.
So, Ten of Swords, 21 parts, has now been wrapped, and 22
22.
parts. Viet, how did you feel about this event as a whole?
I enjoyed it. It was a wild ride. I had no idea where it was going, and that's kind of to say, these days, especially with events. And yeah, the art was great. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints, really.
And it was
to be
great that
honest.
this last issue was all by Pepe Larraz. I mean, the art in this last issue was definitely just overall
Oh
fantastic.
yeah.
What about you, Thatch?
Yeah, I mean, I dug the hell out of it. I mean, I know, and this comes up every time, Hickman takes over something, like his style is very hit or miss in the way that he constructs stuff and kind of really like brings the weird and everything, but I love it. Like it's like, I mean, like Viet said, like one of the best things about it. I mean, there's obviously like some stuff that you generally knew was going to happen, but on the whole, I mean, yeah, like never in a million years could have predicted where this was going to go and the kind of beats that we'd be hitting. And it definitely, kind of like the very first, like Dawn of X stuff, it ends setting up a bunch of stuff organically for the next wave of stories. And so, like that, I am once again like really excited to see what all of these X-Men books are going to be doing after that.
See,
Because, a lot of, you read a crossover and at the end it's like, all right, well, that was fun. And now we're over. I don't really get that feeling from this.
and I'm glad that you did mention that, because now this actually brings the Dawn of X era to an end. And the same day that this issue came out, Marvel released the Reign of X to begin now, and they have a little teaser image that went out to show kind of the future of where they're heading. Overall, I definitely enjoyed this event. I love the fact that we couldn't tell where it was going, that it was completely random at times. And as you
Yeah.
put it, the Calvin ball of it all was just fantastic. Um, I may not want all my events to be 22 parts like this, but I was buying these books anyway, so it really didn't affect me as much as it may other people. And yeah, like Viet was saying, you may have your hierarchy of titles, and Excalibur may not be my favorite, but this event kind of leaned heavily on the Excalibur stuff as well. That stuff was pretty important to understanding the environment that everything was kind of set in. But
Yeah. And like that's what our show does, right? It's just like saying like is this long slog worth it? And I would say
agreed.
this.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like on a month to month basis, for me personally, like I found some of Teeny Howard's stuff hard to follow, but I'm glad that it paid off. And
Yeah.
she had the chance to do that, because I think she had that problem with Strike Force. What we covered those in EMP. Like it got cut short due to COVID and all that stuff. Like she probably was planting a whole bunch of seeds, and that seems to be like her writing style. And But yeah, like, this is like we talked about it before. Like, it is Hickman AF, but
But in
but
all
it's
like the
done well.
best
Yeah,
possible ways. Yeah.
right.
All right. So there we have it. Ten of Swords. You guys still with me? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Everything just
Yeah.
got really quiet. I did share.
Yeah, we're just Ten of Swords swords it out,
I
man.
did. I did
It's
share the image for the Reign of X. If you guys want to take
mhm.
a look at it right there in Skype. Few interesting things to point out. We have Patch, Wolverine in his Patch persona with Maverick. We have Storm holding the I don't even know what to call it, the techno-organic being that was kind of taken out of her in the giant-sized X-Men issues. We see X-23 and Cinch return, so we probably have some more Children of the Vault stuff coming soon, which is going to be exciting for me. I'm looking forward to that. Nightcrawler's holding some book with an X on it. Is this the beginning of the religion that he's supposed to be founding? So it'll be interesting. Shadow King seems to be lurking in the background, as well as Nimrod and Arcade. And we've got Kid Omega with some kind of light coming out of him. I don't know if that has to do with what's going on in X-Force.
Well, what's his name? Colossus's
Mikhail.
brother still like kidnapped his
Yep,
his
and gave
body,
it to
right?
the what's the name of that group? Nah, I forgot the name of the group. We also have M.
Tarn.
Oh, yep, that is Tarn back there. Good call. I didn't even catch that one. We also have Angel and M. Hopefully that X Corp book will be coming, but I do believe they're the two main stars of that. And then we also have my girl Emma holding a H letter invitation, so maybe got some Hellfire stuff coming up. So, um, Reign of X is looking to be pretty exciting when we pick up where we left off with this event.
I'm
Yeah.
stoked. Can't you tell?
Well,
You should tell how stoked I am. No, I mean that sounds sarcastic, but no, I mean like I said, I'm very like and looking over. I kind of like I feel like this is almost like a throwback. But they used to do a lot of these big images where it's like here's a lot of like weird random clues in here
yes,
about what we have planned. So I kind of dig when they do stuff like that.
agreed. All right, well, next episode we will be covering the X books of December 2020. Yeah, you guys can catch me on Twitter at EMPcast. Viet, where can they find you?
At Comedian Viet, and don't forget my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Comedian Viet, December 13th, charity live
All
stream.
right, Thatch, where can they find you?
You can find me at demonweasel.com or at demonweasel on all of your major social media places as well as Patreon. And or even just find me directly on Amazon if you're looking to buy books. Amazon.com for Thatcher E. Cleveland. Believe it or not, I'm the only one. As long as you spell it with one T. Thatcher with one T. Don't mess it up. You'll be missing out. And, we are proud members of a few podcast networks where you can find us and a host of other podcasts. That includes the Comics Podcast Network at comicspodcasts.com. We're also at hashtag the collective net. And yeah, so check us out and check them out when you're done checking us out.
Yep.
Indeed.
That's the last EMX of the year, guys.
Yes, we will see you in 2021, which will hopefully be a much better year than what we've been forced to suffer through.
Didn't we say that in 2019?
Yeah. Look how
Damn.
well that turned out. Way to
Yeah,
jinx us
my-
again, Corwin. Now we got to go through this shit again.
Bad, yeah.
COVID-23 is going to kill us all or something.
That's the Walking Dead zombie virus, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we are out.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
We've got some good
Yeah.
titles here: Breaking the Glass Ceiling, Gorgon and the Boulder, Swordception.
I kind of like Gorgon and the Boulder, but that's my vote.
We should have thrown in a romancing the stone joke there.
Oh,
we missed
my
that
God.
one. We can still use it though.
Oh,
We can
fuck.
still use it.